Hi, I teach Pilates at the Common Curve on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And during this time of social distancing, I thought it might be quite nice to put together a small stretching Pilates based mobility routine for you to try at home. I'm sure a lot of you are very tired of sitting around, have watched far too much Netflix or Prime, and would like to do some movement. So for today, I'm just going to do a very short 10 to 15 minute session for you, just moving through some very basic Pilates moves that will just help to get your body moving again, get your blood flowing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is lie down onto our backs. Okay, have your feet hip distance apart. Okay, if you want to put a cushion behind your head, you can to start with. And have your feet about a hand's distance away from your body. So, first of all, let's start with some pelvic tilt. So at the moment, you probably feel like you've got an arch underneath your lower back. And if you're like a lot of people, you often get stiff and sore in that area. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try and flatten the lower back into the floor and then release and let the arch return back. So just practice doing that. Draw your tummy muscles in, flatten your back into the floor, and then release and back to what we call a neutral position, but with an arch in your lower back. So scooping those tummy muscles and release. And just rocking your pelvis backwards and forwards in between those two positions. And what you can probably see is my pelvis is tilting and then releasing it back down. And tilting and releasing it back down. So just some very small movements. If you're tight in that lower back, you're going to feel a bit of stretching through that lower back area. And now, once you've done a few of those, maybe about 10 of them, let's start to think about, again, doing your pelvic tilt, but continuing to move away from the floor, stretching your knees out in front of you. Take a nice deep breath at the top. And then as you roll back down, upper back rolls down, mid back rolls down, back of the waist, and release and down. Okay, so just doing that a few more times. Roll into that pelvic tilt, roll away from the floor. Take a nice deep breath at the top, and then roll your upper back down, mid back, back of the waist, release. So keep going like that. And what it feels like, it's almost like a string of pearls coming away from the floor, one vertebra after one vertebra. At the top, press your shoulders into the floor and then rolling all the way back down again. Let's do that just a couple more times. Feels really nice on the spine. At the top, feel like you're pulling your heels back towards your bottom, even though they're not actually moving, and that will give you a bit more of a stretch through the front of the body as well. Inhale, exhale, roll yourself all the way back down again. Last one, tilting the pelvis, rolling through, pulling those heels back towards your bottom at the top, and then rolling your upper back down, but pressing your shoulders back into the floor as you go all the way down. Now let's roll onto our sides. If you have a cushion or something for underneath your head, that's always kind of useful. But otherwise, you can just put your arm underneath your head to give you some support. Now, let's just reach the arm out in front of us. Obviously, I'm on a platform, but your hand will be on the floor. And we're going to lift the arm up to the ceiling. And we're just going to allow our chest to rotate up to the ceiling, and the arm is going to roll back behind you. Obviously, I have a wall here, but you may be able to go a little bit further. You may want to support your head a little bit more there. Okay, and then coming back down. And again, lifting up, opening the chest. Keep your knees pressing down to the floor so that it's just your upper torso that is rotating. And lift and open and back. Two more times, lift and open and back, and last one, and lift and open and back. And you may want to add a little bit more range to it and take the arm up by the ear. Again, still supporting your head. Bring the arm around and lift and open and around. Last time, lift and open and all the way around. Now you're going to move through to the other side. Just turn yourself around. Bring your knees together. Again, support your head, and if you are on a mat, come to the front of the mat so that you can then lift up and open the chest. Again, obviously I have the wall behind me, but you can rotate open as far as you feel comfortable, but keep your knees pressing down to the floor. Relax your shoulders away from your ears and just gently open the chest to the ceiling. If you feel any pressure at all on your lower back as you rotate, then just draw your abdominals in a little bit so that that'll help to support your lower back as you rotate back. And again. Good. And then maybe some circles up above the head like we did on the previous side, all the way around. And stretching up and open. And one more time. Reach. And all the way around. Now let's take ourselves onto all fours. Have your hands underneath your shoulders and have your knees underneath your hips. And have a fairly flat back. So your bottom is pushing up slightly, and you can see there's no pushing up in between the shoulder blades. I'm quite flat. So if it's a problem on your wrists to be in this position, walk your hands forward slightly, or take yourself up onto your fists. That's another option as well. So if you're happy with your hands on the floor, now let's just take ourselves into a cat. So we're going to start by lifting our tummy muscles, tucking the tailbone under, draw the rib cage back, let your head hang down. Take a nice deep breath. As you exhale, lift your tailbone, roll through the spine, slide the shoulder blades back and lengthen out through the crown of the head. Let's do that a few more times. Tucking your tailbone under, draw your rib cage up, push the ground away from you and really let your head hang heavy to get that stretch into the neck. Lift your tailbone, roll through your spine, slide your shoulder blades away from your ears and lengthen out. Tuck your tailbone under again, draw the rib cage back, push the ground away from you. And then tailbone lift, slide the shoulder blades back and come into your nice sort of flat, neutral back. Now, another nice thing to do is something called wag the tail, where we bring the same side hip to the same side rib. You can probably see that on that side. And then I take it through and do the same on the other side. So just moving side to side. And that really gives a nice stretch on either side of the lower back. If you lift your tummy muscles a little bit, that also makes that stretch a little bit stronger. Okay, so now let's add again a little bit more rotation. So let's take our arm out to the side and reach up to the ceiling, looking up towards your fingers. And then reach through and stretch your hand between your opposite arm and leg. Push the ground away to lift and then reaching through. Push the ground away to lift and then reaching through. Try the other side. Take the arm up to the ceiling, push the ground away, and then reaching through. And feel that really nice stretch in that upper mid back there as you reach through. And last one. Okay, and now let's take our left hand over our right. Take your knees nice and wide, and then push your left hip back towards your left heel. Rotate your right shoulder to the floor, lifting your abdominals to enhance the stretch. Coming forwards. And pushing back. And coming forwards. and pushing back. Now, as you come forward, you can always let your hips drop. If you want a little bit more stretch in your upper body, you can push back and reach and push back and reach. Let's go for the other side. So right hand comes over left. Press your right hip back to your left heel. I'll start that again. Your right hip back to your right heel. Press your left shoulder to the floor and come diagonally forwards. And again, right hip, right heel. Left shoulder presses down. Forwards. Right hip, right heel. Left shoulder presses down. Now coming forwards diagonally over your hands, you can drop the hips to get that extra bit of stretch there and then pressing back. And last time, coming forwards and pressing back. Now coming forwards, take both hands, one under each shoulder, have your knees apart and your feet together. Press your tailbone back towards your heels, press your chest towards the floor. Now, if this is uncomfortable for you at all, you can put a cushion underneath your bottom to sink back into, or you can just bring your legs forwards and sit forwards, which I will show in a second. So, in this position, taking a nice deep breath. As you exhale, draw your tummy muscles in and then start to roll up through your spine. Lift your breastbone. Open up through the chest. Okay, now if you don't like that position, you can sit yourself just with your legs relaxed, and you can just roll yourself forward and stretch forward. Nice deep breath, inhale. Exhale, draw those abdominals back and rebuild your spine. Lift your breastbone, open your shoulders and lengthen up. And that's just a few little things you can do to get yourself moving if you find you've been sitting around too much. I hope you enjoyed it. Any comments, just contact me at debbie@dorehealth.co.uk. Or if you want to come to any of my classes after this horrible period is over, then just contact me at my email address, and I do my classes at the Cobham Curve in Cobham on Fairmar Lane. I hope to speak to you soon. Thanks very much.